What's up, guys? Welcome back to Feast or Famine with the Youngs.
We are the Youngs. And we have a youngin' with us. He's not a young, but he is young.
He's a little baby.
He's grown up, though, since the last time you met him, because he has been on this podcast before.
He has been on this podcast.
He was a wee little baby.
I will forever just think of you as a tiny little child.
Tiny little child?
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's funny that you say that. Yesterday, I don't even know what I was doing. I think I was answering inquiries, and I got tagged. Are you guys on the What's Going On St. Charles Facebook group?
No.
No. So
how are we not when we have a studio in St. Charles?
Exactly.
That's kind of messed up.
So I get tagged in this post, and there's this anonymous person, obviously, that says, hey, I'm looking for a DJ. Somebody recommended some teenage boy that does weddings and is really good. We're trying to find him, but if not, I'll take recommendations. And I'm like, teenage boy? Right? And of course, everybody knew that was me.
You know.
Right. That's what I'm known for.
This is a perfect introduction for you.
So everybody started tagging me, and then I posted just some real stupid. I was like, that teenage boy would be me. Hey, I'm Dawson.
Hi, I'm Dawson.
I mean, technically, you are still a teenage boy, but...
How old are you?
More 18. So like more like a teenage adult.
Oh my God. I am so much older than you. Holy shit. Oh my God.
But yeah, I was like, I laugh about it, but that's how, people describe me, and everybody knew who I was talking about.
Teenage boy.
I probably got tagged on that post about 17,
this is
18.
Dawson. You're referring to Dawson.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
Dawson with high class DJs. I'm like, glad y'all think I'm a teenage boy.
How does that make you feel that you're technically an adult now, but you're just going to probably forever be known as the teenage boy DJ?
It's great because it's
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That's what I just thought of.
It's good SEO. So I'll take it.
I don't think I would want that kind of SEO. Teenage boy?
Yeah,
no.
well, right.
No.
Teenage
There's
DJ.
so many things running through my head right now.
Young DJ. Yeah, I know. I'm trying to keep like my off the cuff,
This is not an
non-recording.
explicit
Right, exactly.
podcast.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna keep all those to myself till after we stop.
I think we're probably thinking the same thing.
We're all thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
So who the heck are you? Because
who the heck
we haven't
am I?
gotten that far.
I haven't got that far. My name is Dawson. I'm a teenage boy DJ. I co-own High Class DJs with my dad. It's a luxury DJ company based out of St. Louis, primarily focusing on weddings and corporate events.
Dope.
He's pretty good. Y'all.
So we have recorded with Dawson and his dad.
He was one of like the first 5 episodes.
Yeah. So
it was January of 2021.
Yeah.
Oof,
so
man.
We're not going to go into
Any of
his
that.
history or anything like that. If you want to check that out,
Jump way back.
Jump way back in the archives. I don't even know what it was called. We'll look it up and we'll link it in the description.
Just like starting young and
Yeah, something like that.
But we'll link it in the description. Basically, Dawson started when he was a wee little lad with his dad.
Yeah, like a 10.
And now he runs the company, which is
he
great.
wasn't even a little teenager at that point.
I know. I was a little boy.
Yeah,
Not
little
even a
tiny
teenage
baby.
boy.
A little
I was just a
baby.
boy.
Yeah, just a little
Just a
boy.
boy.
Just a little boy.
But today we are talking about how a DJ can make or break your wedding.
And it quite literally
can.
is true. And we wanted to talk about it from our perspective, especially from the video side of things. But there's so much better way to talk about it than with
an actual DJ.
that actually
Yeah.
does it well.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and just dive into it. I know Alex has a lot to say about this, and I'm sure Dawson, you do too. I will chime in here and there. We were actually just chatting about a story where I had a really bad experience with the DJ. I've had multiple bad experiences with DJs actually. And none of them being Dawson, thank God. But yeah, so let's go ahead and jump into just one of the major points of how a DJ can make your wedding great.
Yeah. Well, so it really just depends on the type of couple you are.
Yeah.
I have some couples that come to me and it's like, hey, we want full on Las Vegas Club Rager. Cool. I'm your guy. I have some clients that come and say, hey, we want something in between. Cool. I have a person for that. And then I have somebody that's just like, hey, we just need, just music.
Yeah.
Cool. I can accommodate that too. So it really just depends on where you want to be on the spectrum of how much partying you want to have.
So would you say that based off of your knowledge of obviously how you guys operate, but then versus like how other DJs operate, would you say that you guys are more in tune with like figuring out what like the type of music and like the vibe, like really checking the vibe of what your couple wants versus like how other DJs do, or do you think they do the same?
Outside of just like don't play these songs.
Yeah, other than like a do not playlist.
Yeah. So, and I can't speak for other DJ companies, but for us, when we have our discovery call and our interview, right, it goes both ways.
Yeah.
So
as it should.
Not only do you have qualifying questions for me to see if I'm the right fit for you, I have qualifying questions for you to see if you're the right fit for us. We have gotten to our point in not only my career, but the business career is there are so many people getting married. And I think that's where we really found during COVID is our corporate market dropped, but our wedding market skyrocketed.
Yeah. Yep.
Because no matter no matter what the economy is doing, the world is doing, everybody is going to get married. They're going to find somebody, they're going to want to get married. So weddings are never going to stop.
Yeah.
And I have subscribed to the philosophy of I do not want to work with couples that don't want to work with me.
Yeah.
Because it not only affects how your day is going, but it also affects me and my team. So if me and my team are uninvolved in your day, that's not good for us and that's not good for you.
Yeah.
You want a DJ that is fully involved in your process, in your day, in your party, just as much as you want to be involved with us. So we ask qualifying questions during our initial consultations to figure out what DJ you want,
work best.
right?
Yeah.
I would love to know like what some of those questions are specifically that you ask that feel like help you guys make sure that you are like excelling.
Yeah. So, one of them is give me your 3 favorite artists, right?
Okay.
You can tell a lot about somebody depending on what their top 3 artists
Yeah.
are. Mine is Usher, and Usher.
We know.
So,
We know.
obviously. And if Pat Mahomes was an artist too, he'd be there. But, give me a couple songs on your definitely playlist and your definitely do not play. Because that will depend. If you put Usher on your do not playlist, I'm out. I'm not your dude.
Yeah.
I'm not your dude.
Yeah.
So just different qualifying questions on let's figure out what DJ is right for you, right? So some companies are like, just our best guy is going to be the best thing that it can because that's the most money. I'm not here to take all your money. I'm here to make sure that you have the best DJ. I put the best DJ in the position to make sure the rest of the game succeeds.
Yep.
I love that. I feel like as just like a wedding vendor from an outside perspective of like the audio world, and also thinking about like the people who are planning these weddings and like the couples and their families, I do feel like some of them like really value DJ and like music and like entertainment. But there are some who are just like, we just need music played and we don't really give a shit.
Right.
And I feel like those are the ones where they're not really paying attention to how valuable a good DJ really is.
Because what I think a lot of people that come into that mindset with I don't really give a crap because I just want music played are forgetting the fact that one of the biggest priorities to having a wedding like that are to entertain your guests and give your guests an experience, not necessarily what you are doing. And I'm aging myself here, but before I was in wedding photography, videography, I did DJ and I hated it, so I got out of it.
Right.
But I understood that there was a list of do not play songs, and if nobody was on the dance floor and I know that these songs are going to get there, I would go to the couple and say, look, I'm going to play one of these.
Yep.
And most of the time, I don't care because they're too busy worrying about it. And guess what it did?
It packed
the dance floor.
Yeah, I think that one of the things that people sometimes think about is how a DJ really impacts the client experience, or the client experience and your guest experience, really. So we were talking about the money thing, and it made me think of that. Like some of these people just hire a cheap DJ because they don't really understand the value behind why it's so important.
Yeah. Sometimes it's you don't understand the value, and sometimes it's budget.
Yeah.
I've seen so many clients fall into the victim of we got to have this venue and we have to have this. And that we got to have this caterer and we got to have this food. And then you get to the DJ and you're like,
well, what money's left?
I have $650 left in the budget. What will that buy me? Right.
Yeah.
To where it's really, and then it all goes back to, and it all full circles to, what are your priorities? Is getting married in a beautiful spot your priority? Cool. Set aside money for that. Is entertainment your best priority? Cool. Let's figure out a budget for there. And a lot of people don't know what the budget is. I get on so many calls with clients and they're like, Dawson, we have no idea what we're supposed to pay.
And they shouldn't know if this is their first time.
Right. And I joke with them. I'm like, you guys don't do this for a living.
Yeah.
You don't do this every weekend. This is going to be hopefully your first and ever wedding.
Yep.
If you decide to get remarried, cool. Call me back.
Get divorced first, though.
Right, exactly. Yeah,
if you're gonna get remarried, get divorced first.
Yeah,
Anyway.
don't do that. Yeah, divorces are expensive. Weddings are not. So to figure out what what your priorities are and figuring out what your budget is. The St. Louis market is a completely wide open market.
Oh, it's everything.
No, it's everywhere. There's some DJs that will sit at your $450, $500 range, and those are going to be the guys that are on a laptop speaker and computers and are just going to play music.
They're not going to do the DJ mix thing.
Exactly. And then you're going to get up to your $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 range, and those are your experiences. It really just depends on, do you want a DJ or do you want an experience?
I like that.
Do you want to walk out of your reception being like, I literally feel like I just left a nightclub? Or, do you just want to walk out of your reception and be like, I had fun?
Yeah.
No?
Yeah.
So it really just depends.
Yeah, I like that.
Now, that's coming from just a general DJ client relationship. Let's talk about how the DJ affects the vibe of the day as it pertains to other vendors, like planners or just the vibe in the space in general. Let's not touch on video yet because I got a lot to say about that.
Yeah, we'll hold video for a minute. But yeah, so, we want to build relationships not only with our clients, but with our vendors, right? Because you are going to have two main referral sources that come out of a wedding. You're going to have your client and you're going to have the vendors that you work with. And it really, just scrolling through Facebook, and you guys aren't in DJ groups, but DJ groups are wild. Like we are a wild group of people. And I just sit back and laugh at the people that say, I'm here to service my client, and screw them vendors. Like, right?
Yeah.
Because your client is only half of your referral. You get your clients, and your client is going to refer you to other vendors or their friends. Vendors are going to refer you twice. They're going to refer you to their clients, and they're also going to refer you to other vendors.
Yes.
So, when a wedding planner calls you guys and say, hey, we're looking for this wedding, boom, 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 let's book you. Do you have any DJ recommendations? You ain't going to tell the people that, are not taking care of you on the wedding day. You're going to be like, go talk to these guys, go talk to them, right?
Yep.
Because us vendors trust other vendors.
Exactly.
We do this week in and week out.
Yeah.
Right. And when I tell my clients, I say your photographers and videographers specifically are your best source for recommendations. You guys do how many weddings a year? Probably.
Well,
we used to do like 40.
But right now we're doing like 20.
Okay, so let's say 20. So 20, you see potentially 20 different DJs. Now you're going to have some repeats in there, so let's say 15. You see 15 different DJs a year, you have 15 options to choose from. Where on a client, they're just going to tell you who they hired.
Sorry to cut you off, but Alex talks to DJs more than I do.
Yeah.
Because he handles it just for like the photo and video side of things. But really, like you say 15, I can probably think of 3.
Yeah.
And so
we would want to work with.
So like I wanted to put that out there because you're right that we probably do work with like at least like 10 to 15 a year, but none of them really stick out in my mind enough for me to remember them or recommend them.
Right.
Which might be a hot take, but it's
so
true.
I remember several for the opposite though too.
When you look at giving referrals, is you want to make the vendor's day just as good as the client.
Yeah.
Right? So when I go and I touch my touch points, right? I touch with the client, I touch with both sets of parents, and I also touch with all my vendors. Photographer, you good? Ready? Need anything? Can I get you some? Videographer, same thing. Florist, boom. All the people involved, because I want to be that person that everybody goes to if something's wrong.
Yeah.
Right? Because as cocky as this might sound, nothing starts without me.
Right.
Right.
Nothing starts
You
without
are
me.
literally starting and running the show.
Yeah.
Nobody is above me other than a planner.
And nobody knows what's going on until you say what's going on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And there are some situations that, things happen and DJs don't say anything and people are pissed that they missed the opportunity.
Yeah. Mhm.
Like, if you don't announce the first dance and they just start dancing, well, Aunt Susie was in the bathroom and she missed her only niece share her first dance with her husband.
Mm-hmm.
Now she's writing you a bad Google review
Yeah.
because you ruined that moment for her. Mm-hmm. So, there's so many different angles and we could talk for hours on this, but there's so many different angles and touch points that you need to have and all your referrals come from making sure that your client have the best day possible and your vendors have the best day possible.
Yeah.
And I think it's a really good segue to the next topic, which is communication.
Yep.
And that falls into like what we do also, because you made that comment about nobody knows about the dances happening if you don't talk about it.
Right.
But also,
Neither do your vendors.
neither do your vendors. So a DJ can tell everybody that the stuff's happening.
Yep.
But if they're not telling the vendors,
Communicating.
hey, are you ready? Let's start in 3 minutes.
Yep.
And then we get up there and they still don't start and they look over, give them the thumbs up. Okay, we're starting.
Yep.
That's a good DJ.
Yep.
I can't tell you how many, we'll talk about Facebook groups, how many memes and jokes and everything there are going around about
A DJ.
when you hear the DJ announce the first dance and you're off in the other room eating.
Right.
That has happened to us a handful of times.
Yeah.
That is like, I would say as a photographer, that is my number, maybe my number 2 biggest fear on a wedding day is that I'm going to be eating my meal or I'm going to be in the bathroom.
something. Yep.
The one bathroom break that I take, the DJ is going to be like, we're cutting the cake. And
Yeah.
I'm pulling my pants up, trying to get out. That is probably one of my biggest fears on a wedding day.
Yeah.
And so when I know that we're working with a DJ that we've worked with before and that we trust, I already feel a lot of relief just going into the day right away.
Makes your day easier.
Yeah.
Right. You don't have, when you walk into a wedding day, as a photographer, as a videographer, as a caterer, DJ, whatever, you need to worry about just your job. You don't need to worry about what I'm doing. I don't need to worry about what you're doing.
Shouldn't have to.
Shouldn't have to.
Yeah.
Shouldn't have to is the key. You shouldn't have to worry about if I'm going to come get you or not.
Right.
That you have so many other things to worry about on a wedding day. Keeping SD cards secure, making
Yeah.
sure you're getting these moments, making sure you're hitting the client's hit list,
Yeah.
right? You shouldn't have to worry about, am I going to miss the first dance?
Yeah.
Shouldn't have to.
Yeah.
To where that comes into the DJ and the client communication as well is once the reception starts, I'm the guy. I'm the guy in charge. I'm going to make sure your planner's good. If we have anything else that we need to do, I'm going to check timeline. We're going to check that weeks before, make sure everybody's on the same page. I cannot tell you how many times I go into weddings and shit changes.
Yeah.
And, there are plenty of planners that I don't even know that are planning the wedding till 2 nights before. It's like, hey, I'm so-and-so for so-and-so's wedding. Just sending you a timeline. That timeline looks nothing like what I have.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And I have had this, multiple touch points with a client on making sure that everything is where they need to be.
Yeah.
But you shouldn't have to worry about, am I going to miss the first dance? Am I going to do this, that, and the other? Because your DJ should do that.
Right.
Your DJ should say, hey, Veronica, are you ready? We're going to do first dance, father, daughter, mother, son, back to back to back. Alex, how much time do you need to switch lights, move cameras around?
Yeah.
Because I want to set you guys up for success just as much as you guys want to set me up for success. In theory, in turn, if I make sure your job's easy, you should make sure mine's easy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So when you guys are like, hey, we're going to go take, our clients out for sunset photos. We'll be back in 30 minutes. Cool, perfect. I know that not to do anything important, not only make any announcements or, hey, we're going to do the first dance without anybody in this room, or if we're on the middle of a dance floor set and you're like, hey, we're going to take wedding and bridal party and all that out to do sparkler send off or whatever, fake, whatever you guys do, is I know, hey, in the back of my mind, there are some songs that the bride wants to hear, the groom wants to hear, that they specifically asked to be in the room for. Now that I know that they're not, I'm going to keep those songs until I either see the photographer or videographer that are back, or I see the client.
Yeah,
So,
that's super important.
effective communication is a two-way street.
Right.
Yeah, we've had, So I'm thinking of like one wedding where the bride was like very specific with certain shots that she wanted for first dances.
Yep.
We were at the art museum, they have a mezzanine. And so like we needed to communicate with the DJ, hey, do not start these until I tell you that my other photographer is up there.
Yep.
I feel like there's a lot of things like that clients don't think about, that, you know,
They shouldn't have to.
the parents don't think about, that there's a lot of coordination and communication that has to happen between the DJ and other vendors to
Yep.
make sure that things go off without a hitch, to make sure that our clients get what they want.
Yep.
Yeah, and that actually leads me to my next thing. You mentioned giving time to like reset stuff and everything like that, and you mentioned getting specific shots for photography. That's easily done for the most part as long as there's communication. However, one thing that we discuss a lot from the photo and video standpoint that I think a lot of photographers would hate to hear is when it comes to reception, photography is pretty, for the most part, as long as you're ready to go, easy to capture. As long as you're ready for the moments and you know what's happening when it's happening and you can get your shots, it's easy. Get your shots, it's good. But what I think is one of the most important vendors at that point is the videographer.
Yeah.
Because the videographer quite literally revolves the entire film, for the most part, around what's being said in these speeches. The videographer quite literally has to capture the entirety of those dances.
Yep.
So the videographer has to be ready
Yeah.
for those
Everything.
things.
And that
Yep.
means miking people up for
That means-
speeches
Yep.
and putting, you do all like a lot of audio things. You'll have whatever.
Redundancies.
Yeah. But like you plug into like Dawson's board and like things like that. Like there's a lot of things that you guys communicate on.
Yeah.
That I don't have to
Yeah,
be a part of that. But
we'll get to that part. But like I'm talking just the simple fact of if a DJ is not willing to communicate and have the conversation with your videographer that hey, after speeches happen that are happening like this,
Yep. We're immediately going into this.
we're gonna go into dancing. But hey, I need like 2 minutes because dancing
to
is a
reset
completely different
lighting or-
angle. I need
yeah.
to move lighting a little bit. Give me like 2 minutes. It's not even that much, and usually it doesn't even take a full 2 minutes.
Right. Yeah.
But going straight into it without that is so chaotic.
yeah.
And it doesn't need to be that way.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. You know, and the thing about that is, and I'm glad that you brought that up, is when I get a situation like that, I'm always the one that asks that question. Hey, once we're done with toasts, we are going into dances. How much time do you need? Because I see, Alex, that in the last 30 minutes of the formalities that we've been doing, intros, toasts, whatever, I see you have 3 different cameras. Where does those cameras need to go? Where do your lighting need to go? Do you want my lights on? Like I have lights that are going to be in the background of this client shot. Do you want them on or off? You want them on, what color, right? Do you want them white? Do you want them blush? What do you want, right? Because I want to make sure not only does your video look good for you and the client, but the video also looks good for me.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to be the one that says, hey, go watch this video, go watch this first dance, look at these lights in the background.
Yeah.
That's what we offer, right?
Yeah.
Your videos are so helpful in our sales process of, hey, you're getting married at this venue. Okay, go watch this video. I can't even tell you how many YouTube links I've sent to the Young's videos, either on Facebook or YouTube, of like, hey, go watch this
That's
video.
where our tens of views come from.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, they're all me. All me
Yeah.
and my clients.
Oh,
you know,
geez.
go watch this video at Piazza. See what we do here.
Yeah.
I'm still using the Teresa and Phillips video
was so good.
That-
for like CO2.
Pretty sure I got COVID from that
Justin.
wedding.
Did you?
Justin
Justin.
and Teresa.
Justin.
Yeah, you're right,
But
right.
actually, his name is Philip, but he goes by Justin.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
Yeah.
We're both right.
We're
Yeah.
both right. I got nervous. I was like, I
You're like, oh,
think
shit.
it's Philip. But all
It's
right.
both. It's
Okay.
both. That wedding was so much fun.
Yeah.
It's probably one of my favorite ones, even though I'm pretty sure I got
Was
COVID
that the
from
first
it.
time you used the
Uh-huh.
CO2 cannon?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
The
was so
first and
cool.
only time I've ever experienced it with you guys.
Now
Yeah.
everybody has a CO2 cannon.
I know.
Yeah.
There's a
You
lot-
kind of
There's a lot of
you
things
kind of started that in the
Dawson
Lou.
started in
In the
St. Louis
Midwest,
that
at
now
least.
everybody has.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
So another thing that I want to talk about is sound. You know, like when we're
We're not talking about
sitting,
video sound. We're talking about actual what
yeah,
you
actual
hear.
audio
sound.
sound.
You know, like when you're sitting down and father of the bride's speaking and you get a
Feedback.
Uh-huh.
that's like, and everybody's like, oh shit, oh my God.
Yeah.
That's like the worst thing ever. And I feel like that is one of those things that completely can kill a vibe.
And that just comes down to knowing
Your equipment.
Your equipment, how sound equipment works.
Yep.
Just because my background, I know
But for
these
a
things.
client's perspective, they might not be
They don't-
thinking
yeah,
about that.
right. So-
and that's one of those things that can make or break your evening.
It talks about, it all goes back to communication.
Yeah.
We talk, and I have what I call my toast crash course. Hey, for the next 3 minutes, pay attention to me. You see this microphone here? Don't hold it down by your belly button, because you know that scratching, irritating chalkboard sound everybody hates? You're going to get that. And I'm going to be pissed. And I'm going to stop your speech and tell you to fix you before you can speak. And it's just a multitude of different things. Hold it up here, talk loud. You have a huge room to get to.
Use a mic stand.
Yes and no. Mic stands are great to keep everybody in position, but they ruin photos. I can't even tell you how many people, especially in ceremonies. It's like, I don't want to.
Ceremonies, yeah, I agree with
I don't
that.
want to
Ceremonies,
see
yeah.
a mic stand in front of a bride's face.
100%.
And mic stands are great for toasts, but it kind of ruins that you're disconnected from the couple, right? So when you stand up on toast on a traditional head table, you have your bride, your groom, your matron or maid of honor, and your best man. So if I set up a toasting microphone on the end of the table, you are now having to get up from your seat, take your drink, and the chances that you have somewhere to set your drink and your toasts are very slim. So now you are putting your drink on the edge of the head table, you are standing on the edge of the head table and trying to not only look at the audience, but also turn your head and talk to your best friend.
You were referring to like if you were put this like the person speaking in front of the table, right?
Well, in general, with a mic stand. And so I agree to disagree with that.
Yeah.
From a video standpoint, the way I see it is, in order to get...
I think it all depends on a lot of different things.
The space definitely depends big time, because not every space is adequate for setting up this way. But in the grand scheme of it, my goal is to, A, get the best shot of the speaker while also placing them in a way that they can address as many people as possible, and get a good shot of the couple reacting where they're also looking basically interview style outward toward the camera and toward the speaker. And
which we've done that with you a lot.
We do that, like any of our films, you'll see this, and the lighting looks great, the angle looks great, because we're able to control that. And when you set the stand in place, you get that control. But that's where communication comes in play, because a lot of the times that space is where the speakers are pointing toward. And for the dumbed down version, feedback comes when the mic is pointed toward the speaker. So having that communication, say, hey, here's what we're looking at, here's how I want to set up speeches, gives the DJ time to adjust the speakers if they need to adjust the speakers so that they don't get the feedback.
Well, Alex is also very OCD, and because we do video and he doesn't want to have to follow whoever's speaking around and doing a pan, he wants a steady cam.
Because they also walk in and out of lighting.
He likes to tape down the microphone to the mic stand, and we have some DJs who are fine with that, like you, and then others who are like, don't you frickin' dare put tape on my mic. On my
it's
mic.
gaff tape. They know most good DJs know that it's not going to do anything.
But again, it comes down to communication. So
because in addition to that, we'll talk about audio from the video standpoint.
We need to finish that spot though. Just like how the sound impacts.
Oh yeah, let's finish that. First then.
So it also comes down to who's controlling the board. All my guys are certified trained on our equipment. I buy specific equipment that has training protocols to go with it. All my guys can EQ with the best of them on our rigs. Have your training as well as watching the room. If you see that the father of the bride is starting to kind of sway back and move towards our direction, watch his microphone. And that's where I get fortunate enough, is either I have 2 people or I have 3 people. So I'm out on the floor emceeing, building that experience, which we'll get to in a little bit. But building that experience, I have my audio guy that is running the microphones and the boards, and I also have my lighting guy. That if lighting needs to change a little bit, if Alex says, hey, I need more white or I need more whatever, we can fix that. To where your audio guy is always watching whoever is talking.
Yeah, because one of those moments where they're giving they're saying something incredibly emotional,
and their microphone cuts out or feedback, and
that's one of those moments you just can't get back. And that fully relies on your DJ.
And that's why I have redundancies.
Yeah.
On everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, in some situations is out of everybody's control.
Right.
Which in that case, there's nothing that God could have done to fix that. But most problems and most things that occur on a wedding day can be avoided or can be recovered from.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's switch gears and talk about, you just mentioned it, like the experience side,
Yeah.
a little bit more of the MC portion
Yeah.
of what the DJ has a responsibility
Because
for.
a lot of people forget that
Yeah. I mean,
you're not just
are-
creating music, you're actually
hosting.
directing and hosting the entire reception.
Yeah, yeah. You're creating the vibe, you're creating excitement and anticipation for everything that's to come during the next 4 to 5 hours. And if you have a DJ that is just like really like not excited and just has a monotone voice and like has no excitement at all,
It affects.
It affects. Yeah. So I would just love to hear like your take on that.
So I'm the hype crew for the party. My job not only is to create the audio atmosphere for everybody's enjoyment, is also to make sure all your guests are as hype as they can be all night long.
Yeah.
And that starts from cocktail hour. And it really just depends. And you guys aren't much in cocktail hour because you guys are, taking photos, doing all the things with the couple. But
Second shooters are in cocktail hour.
exactly. So when we do cocktail hours, our cocktail hours are very different. In the St. Louis market, if you go to 10 weddings, 8 of them you're going to hear your Frank Sinatras, your big bands, all your things. Your other 2 are the ones that are going to have remixes, redrums, upbeat music. I don't want you falling asleep as you're drinking your drink, right? I want you up and moving your feet, talking to people. There's some weddings that I have packed dance floors on cocktail hour, and
Because you're feeding energy.
for the life of me,
To build-
caterers do not know what to do.
To build
Yeah.
into it for the
Yeah.
reception. 'Cause I
You're
mean,
building energy that
Yep.
is to come, like where it's just going to explode later.
Yeah. So, and it starts with cocktail hour because cocktail hour leads to introductions. And when I tell my clients and when we talk about introductions is I want you to walk into your room and get smacked in the face with energy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. And I tell my clients, if you do not walk in this room energetic, you are going to feel like the 2 that are left out. Because everybody
good.
in this room is so excited. They've come to celebrate your love. And that is where your excitement all comes from. And it takes the good MC and good DJ to find that core
Yeah.
of why we're here and expose it to the world and make sure that everybody has as much fun as they can.
They're quite literally there for the 2 of you.
Yep.
Yeah,
Period.
and I feel like introductions are vastly overrated in
Yeah.
the whole grand scheme of the wedding day because I always
Over or underrated?
underrated.
I misunderstood you correctly.
Yes, underrated. Thank you. I'm sorry. Because the whole day, like if anything's going to be stressful, it's going to be everything before you
Yep.
walk into that room. Because once you walk into your reception room, everything else is just
Just
easy.
go with the flow. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's the part where you can really let go of the day and enjoy it.
Yeah.
Every step of the way.
Yeah, and I tell my clients when I'm taking microphones off officiants and grooms, and whatever the case may be, is now that's the hard part. Everything after,
Yeah.
once your cocktail hour starts, night's easy.
Yeah.
We're just on cruise control till we're done.
Yeah. Now it's time to relax and have a
Yep.
really good time.
Yeah.
Yep.
Undo your tie, loosen it up a little bit. Take your tie off. I don't give a shit.
Take
I
your
don't wear
shirt
ties.
off if you want. We've had that before.
Dude,
We've had that before.
I can't even tell you how many shirts I have off and ties that get hung around their
Their
heads.
head, yeah.
Dude, yeah. I'm like, well, don't do that till you have your first dance, but like, take
Yeah.
your tie off.
Yeah.
Like,
Do it
Relax.
when open dancing starts.
exactly.
Yeah.
So you build the energy for the night in the experience because not only, and I've said this, but not only am I creating the audio atmosphere of the night, I'm also creating the entertainment atmosphere for everybody's enjoyment. Not only am I working for you guys, I'm also working for all 300 people who have been in this room because they are important to you, so they're important to me, but they are also 300 potential clients.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
for
I
sure.
am putting my best foot forward as much as I can on every scenario.
Yeah.
And that also comes down to effective communication with your vendors, with your team. I get very, very fortunate that my number one tech, Adis, and I have worked together for 3 years. That man knows me better than I know myself. We don't even talk about timelines anymore when we do weddings because he's like, I just listen to what you say.
Mm-hmm.
Is the MC you give keywords in your monologue that you don't even know.
Yeah.
I know exactly what we are going to do 3, 4, 5 things ahead just by what you've already said during introductions.
And ironically, you've only been emceeing for the last 3 or 4 years.
Since 2020.
Yeah, because your dad used to MC for you, and because you never wanted to MC. And
No, I was terrified.
I remember him saying,
It's a big
I
responsibility.
remember saying
is.
Dawson has to get comfortable with emceeing if
Yep.
he's going to make it.
Yeah.
How has that, like, how do you feel like that has impacted your experience that you offer to your clients, being able to MC and do it well? And also, like, how is your MC experience? So
Yeah.
2 questions in one.
So it has changed the game for my clients and my team and what we do is prior to emceeing, I just was the kick-ass DJ behind the booth.
You didn't really interact at all.
Didn't really interact at all. But I went on social media and I've seen all these other DJs that MC and create this experience. I'm like, I can do that if I grab a microphone, right? And to see the difference, not only between our different DJs, but between me as the MC that has grown over the couple of years. I go back and watch footage of my first wedding that I ever MC'd, which was, October of 2020. We can get back into that story in a minute. And just to see how I introduced that night to how I introduce now is completely different. And I even find myself changing my monologue a little bit from wedding to wedding because it also depends on your client, depends on what they want, what their needs are.
And the energy of the room, probably.
Exactly. There are some clients, there's some rooms that don't need as much interaction as others. I can walk into a room and not say a word and have the best party this side of the river.
Yep.
Or I need to come in and be a little bit more interactive, give a little bit more direction because people just don't know. And it also depends on your demographic.
I feel like that is a really good insight of, like, just taking temperature of the room. And that's one of the good qualities of a good DJ, because not every DJ can do that.
No, your 3 biggest things that make a DJ are their MC abilities, their programming abilities, and their mixing abilities.
Yeah.
Everything other than that is up to you.
Yeah. Yeah. How, let's talk about, like, what you were saying about your first
My first MC story.
Yeah.
So I was DJing
curious.
a wedding October of 2020, and for the life of me, I can't remember where it was at. But
Was it before Justin and Teresa?
after.
After. Okay.
Yeah. So
Was
Justin
it
and
before
Teresa
Becca
were.
and Cole?
Yes. Becca
Yeah.
and Cole were 2022.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Jeez, what happened?
Yeah.
Where'd the
so
years go?
Becca
Yeah.
and Cole were 20. Well, the only reason I know is I just looked at our planning system to make sure that I knew what clients we'd worked with in the past.
Oh, so
before I
you don't
came.
just know these things.
No,
you
I
had
just
to
don't know
refresh.
these
You had to
things.
remember.
I had to
We
remember.
know these
So
things,
Becca
guys.
and they were in 2022. Justin and Teresa were
Philip.
August of 2020. So this was October of 2020.
Okay.
So we go to start the ceremony. We had a ceremony delay because it just downpoured. So we had our cocktail hour prior to our ceremony. We had a certain time frame with the venue that we had to cut, and we just needed to we couldn't afford to lose an hour.
Yeah. Had to adjust.
Yeah, we
pivot.
had to adjust. So we get ready to do our ceremony. I'm miking up the groom. We're doing everything. 3 minutes before we're supposed to walk down the aisle, I look at Brian at the time because Hadis was either not working for me or doing something else. And I look at Brian. I said, Brian, have you seen the officiant?
Oh, you've told me this
Have
story,
I?
actually.
Okay,
yeah.
so
But
I
our
was like,
listeners don't know it. I know
I do
this.
know the story.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, have you seen the officiant?
Yeah.
He's like, no, I thought you had it. I'm
remember
like,
this.
All right, well, shit.
Yeah.
We have a couple that wants to get married that doesn't have anybody to marry them. So luckily, by the grace of God, they had already been legally married. So I just needed a fake. Right? But of course, I didn't know that at the time. So I walk down and I say, Brian, hand me a microphone. And I can prior to this, I could MC a corporate event. I could MC a high school event to the best of them because I was a high school student. And I could MC anything other than introductions. The fear of screwing up somebody's name in front of 300
It's the
people
worst.
Yeah.
would eat me alive. So I walk down, I grab a microphone, I walk up the aisle, and I basically say something along the lines of, is anybody some sort of public speaker, salesman, teacher, anybody? And they're like, what? Like,
What is going through your mind right now?
What am I doing?
Soften it
What's-
up.
what are
I
you
need to
thinking?
find somebody to marry these two people. Whether you're ordained or not, I could give a shit less.
Yeah.
I just need somebody to come act as an officiant. I didn't even have a script at this point. Luckily, the wedding officiant service they had hired, they had 3 or 4 different templates you could choose from.
Okay.
Which that's a whole different topic off camera that pisses me off. But they had 4 templates that you could choose from. Luckily, the bride knew or had her email or whatever of where the templates were. So I was able to get 4 templates. They wanted template number 1. So I had that pulled up on my iPad. And I ended up finding it was the groom's former boss and the groom's uncle. We ended up having 2, which was a curveball in itself, but they both wanted to do it. I was like, cool. So they...
Rock, paper, scissors.
At least you had someone who was wanting to do it, because I could
Right.
see people being like, F that.
Yeah.
Including yourself probably, because
Yeah. Oh, I wasn't gonna do it.
Was it going through your head that you're like,
No,
I might have to do this?
I was not an option.
No.
Fun fact, I got ordained during 2020, so if we ever have that issue or you were with us and we have that issue,
I'll call you.
I'll do it.
Yeah, I'll call you. Alex, get your ass over here.
So
gotten to do it yet.
so you have not MC'd. You're standing up during before ceremony's about to start.
So we find somebody
asking
to
for
do
people.
we find somebody to do the ceremony. We do the ceremony. Mind you, it rained before the
Oh, yeah.
ceremony. So we get to the ceremony. Ceremony was perfect. Everybody loved it. The bride and groom walk up the aisle. They walk down to the lower patio, and they stand right beside this patio chair with the umbrella still up. Nothing wrong with that. Everybody's walking back up to our last 30 minutes of cocktail hour. We're breaking down equipment, getting things up, moved to cocktail hour and back to reception. And I hear this huge scream. Well,
Water on the umbrella.
yes.
Oh.
A huge gust of wind hits, drenches the bride and groom.
Oh God.
Like from head to toe.
Oh, my
Makeup
God.
is it's
no.
awful. So we ended up being 45 minutes behind. Hair and makeup had to come back, fix the bride, fix the groom. The groom took his suit off. We had to steam the suit.
Blow dry it,
it was
probably.
awful.
Oh my God.
Oh, man.
The bride's dress was as dry as we could because, there's multiple layers to a wedding dress, right? So we got as much layers we could dried.
Oh, Lord.
So we get through cocktail hour. Well, hang on.
If I was the bride, I would have been like, I'm going home.
I'm going home.
I'm married. I'm done.
Right.
I'm going
done.
home. Enjoy the party.
Yeah, exactly. So we are finishing up cocktail hour, and I'm doing a run to make sure everybody's in the room. And look who walks in the door.
Oh my God.
The officiant. and he's like, I'm here for so-and-so's wedding. And the ceremony was at 4.
It's done.
Yeah, ceremony was at 4, and he showed up at 4:45.
Oh my God.
He's like, I have a 5 p.m. ceremony. I'm like, that 5 p.m. ceremony was 4 p.m. Here's what I want you to do. Turn your happy ass around and run out of this room.
Yeah, just
because if the
literally
bride,
go.
the groom, or either one of their parents see you, your ass is not making out of this venue alive.
Yeah.
Literally.
And to this day, well, now not to this day, but I have kept that secret that the officiant actually showed up 45 minutes
my
late to the wedding
God.
to myself.
So this is the first time you've said this?
This is the first time I've said it public.
Oh my
So you
God.
heard it here first. If you guys are watching, your officiant did show up just 45 minutes late.
They are still married, right?
Yeah, they are still married.
Perfect. It's been
Oh
4
my
years.
God. I hope
Everything's
they got
fine.
their money
Everything's
back.
good.
I hope they got their money
they
back.
did.
Okay, good.
No, I promise you they did.
Good.
So at this point, I'm like, listen, we had an officiant no-show. The bride and groom are drenched. I could screw up this entire wedding, and I'd be the best thing since sliced bread.
You're like, I might as well just try
I just might
emceeing.
as well try it because if anything's gonna screw up, I'm just gonna fit
Is
with the
that
rest
truly?
of the thing.
Is that truly like how?
That's
it
exactly
went?
what went through
You're
my
like,
mind.
because you probably in that moment were like, or during that time in that
Yeah.
season, you're like, I know that I'm going to have to start
I'm just gonna
emceeing
have to
eventually.
start somewhere.
And you're like, today's the day.
Today's just gonna be the day.
I've already talked to him,
Right.
so
Yeah,
Yeah.
because if anything happens, if I screw up anything else, here's the thing. We as DJs strive for perfection the entire day.
Mm-hmm.
So if I were to screw up introductions on a normal wedding, that in theory would be the only screw up of the day.
But you're like,
We've already had 4 screw ups
well,
prior
and
to
also,
that.
You saved the day.
I was
I
gonna
saved
say,
the day.
and also all of these people, all like that are attending
Mm-hmm.
this wedding, they are already
shell-shocked.
familiar with you because
Yeah.
you've stood up in front of them
Yep.
and started to create a
Yep.
solution for the problem.
Is
and
anyone
so,
a doctor?
Right. Is anyone a
Literally.
doctor, right?
So like you've already put
Yeah.
yourself out there in front of them.
Yep.
So yeah,
So
that makes sense.
the one thought that went back to my mind is says if I screw something up, I'm just going to be added in with the rest.
Yeah.
I'm not going to stick out.
Yeah.
Because they're going to talk about how their officiant didn't show up and how they got soaking wet during their reception
And they're not
way
gonna
before
care
they
if
talk
Dawson
about the
messed up
DJ
the
screwed
name.
up somebody's name.
Yeah.
Way more dramatic.
Yeah.
Way more dramatic. So I'm like, just screw it. We're just going to do it.
Who was supposed to do it?
Brian.
Okay.
So Brian walked in and he probably thought I was like high on cocaine or something. I walked in, I'm like, hand me a microphone, we're getting started at introductions. Well, Brian doesn't do my job. So Brian doesn't know what I do and how I do it.
So what did that look like?
So it worked. It was great.
Yeah.
Because we didn't, luckily it was a Sunday wedding, so there wasn't much
Was he like,
involved.
are you sure?
He's like, are you 100% positive? I'm like, don't psych me out. Like, it's
Just shut up.
Just
Let me do
shut
it.
up and let me do this before I change my mind.
Yeah.
He's like, okay.
Brian's so nice, too.
Yeah.
He's probably like, okay.
He's like, are you sure? Like, are you cool? Like, are you comfortable? Do you need something? I'm like, Brian, just shut up. Just play this song. Like,
Are you feeling a chill?
yeah, right. He's like, are you good? Are you sick?
Yeah.
Did you just do a line of cocaine? Like, what's up with you? I'm like, just hand me the microphone, play the song, and let's do it.
Yeah.
So, but I'd already researched and knew so I'm a very big planner, obviously with my job, but I plan everything. So prior to this, I already had a script memorized. The moment that I stepped on the microphone, I knew what I was going to say.
You are very much that way.
Which is the biggest part about emceeing is knowing what you're going to say.
Yeah.
So if you already have it down, it's just saying it out loud.
Yeah.
In front of a bunch of people.
In front of a bunch of people. So I already had what I was going to say down. We did introductions. We rocked it. We did everything else. And then the rest is history.
Yeah.
So, it's very interesting because, like you said, Dad and I don't work together much anymore. So when we work together, I'm not the MC. Mm-hmm. Well, Dad and I do things a little bit different. So when I am just the DJ, it takes me a minute to step back and say, how does Dad do this? Right?
Mm-hmm.
How does he do things? Because when you're in the microphone and you're the MC, you're in control of the entire show. Everything goes exactly the way you want it, or it doesn't happen at all. So to be able to watch somebody else MC and just follow their cues is a little bit hard, but we manage.
So we've
You
actually
do it fairly similar though.
Yeah, there's just a couple things that are changed that just,
I think that we've done a wedding with you and Hadis when you were emceeing, but Hadis wasn't trained on your board yet. And so
Right.
you were doing both. I'm sure that that's different now.
It is. Hadis is, he yells at me when I get on my board before I'm supposed to. Him and I, we have an amazing relationship outside work and inside.
So he runs music while you do
Exactly.
intros and
Yep.
stuff.
So
yeah.
he's my better half.
And he does cocktail hours now.
He
for
does
you, too.
everything.
Nice.
I get yelled at before. I don't even open up the dance floor anymore. He's my
Really?
opening guy.
Oh my gosh.
So, especially if we have a 3-hour dance set, he'll play the first 45 minutes to an hour.
Yeah.
And I'm not allowed to do anything. Like when we're, doing weddings and everything like that, and I try to hey, let me mix, he's like, go away. Get out of here.
Yeah.
Like, you don't touch my
I'm
board.
sure that
Don't touch my shit.
like now in your career at this point that feels nice, but
It
probably
does.
a couple years ago you would have been like, hell no.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, I need to be in control of everything.
Yeah.
And that it's actually we're getting ready to do it in 2024. But now that I have 2 techs, I'm not even going to show up before ceremony.
Wow.
So I'm not in charge of setup and I'm not in charge of breakdown.
It's all
Yeah.
about
But
having
that-
a person with their designated role and them knowing exactly what that role is.
Yep.
And if basically because of your team being as large as it is, if you were the only one that was emceeing and then was able to do whatever you wanted,
Yep.
that just looks bad on the whole.
Right.
So this is kind of like a random question.
Yeah.
Based on your experience from what you've seen, from other DJs, what do you feel is the number one biggest thing that a DJ can do that can completely ruin a reception?
Oh, there's a lot.
Narrow it down to 2.
So as far as specific moments is playing the wrong song.
Yeah. During their
Just
first
during-
dance
yeah,
or
during anything.
We've had that before.
But it's
yeah.
also it's not altering your vibe to fit with the room.
Yeah, that's good.
Some DJs walk in
And they push their
say
agenda.
They're going to push their agenda.
Yeah.
I'm going to play what I want to play, and if you guys don't like it, to hell with you. Right? Some situations, that's great. And it also depends on your client, right? If you attract the same client that you push off to be, you're good. You
Yeah.
never have to worry about that. But it's the people that are either getting started in the business that will just take anything that they can get, or it's the people that don't really ask the qualifying questions that's like, hey, you are giving me money, so I'm going to take it.
Yeah.
You know, when you walk into a room and push your agenda, it gives everybody a bad, you know, taste in their
feeling.
mouth,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You know, when you push your agenda, the photographer on like, hey, we're doing this now, and if you're not ready, go to hell.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, that makes her or him feel bad. Same thing for video,
Yeah.
same thing for anybody. But it also makes the client shouldn't have to worry about you not wanting to follow what they want you to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
As a client, I should not have to worry about if my DJ is going to fall off the rails and do whatever the hell they want. And if I say no house music and they play house music, that I shouldn't have to worry about. A bride should never have to come up to me and say, can we play something different?
Yeah.
No, you shouldn't.
How do you handle requests?
How do I handle requests?
I know the answer to this, but just for people
I use
listening.
professional judgment.
Yeah.
You know, so I will always take requests. Now, in planning meetings, it all comes back to communication. In planning meetings, I talk to my clients. I'm like, hey, do you want me to take requests? Do you want me to take requests from everybody? Take requests just from you? Take requests from your parents' wedding party? Everybody? Like, what do you want me to do?
Yeah.
Most clients are like, just take requests, but use your professional judgment. Cool, I'll do that.
Something that's unique about you, though, is that you hardly will play a song in its entirety.
Exactly.
And that's probably something that you are very upfront and vocal about with all of your clients.
Because you can seamlessly switch from one song to another, which
is so
I'm probably your favorite request giver, I bet.
You are.
He's lying.
I say that only because the music background in me, I'll be hearing a song and
Yep.
I'm like, what is the like most obscure thing that I can tell
every
Dawson
time-
to do that I have to make him transition from this song to this weird obscure song.
We always play that game when we're with you.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
like, hey, mix these two together and see how well
and
you do with it.
It works. And
Yeah.
for the life of me, when Alex gives me a song, I'm like, where in the hell did that song come from?
Yeah.
But when I play it, it works.
It's like a fun thing that we do. It's just always so fun.
I'm only trying to make you better, Dawson.
Yeah, I appreciate it. So it depends on. So let's go back to requests. Requests, I always take them.
Yeah.
I'll never tell a client or a guest or anybody that it's on the do not playlist, because if Aunt Susie has Sweet Caroline on her, her must playlist, and the bride's like, Aunt Susie's going to ask for it, under no circumstances do you play it.
Yeah.
I don't need to go tell Aunt Susie that her,
You're just going to say, okay, and then it just might not ever happen.
And I don't need to be like, Sarah, put that on your do not playlist, because then Aunt Susie's going to go back to Sarah and say, why the hell won't you play my song?
Yeah.
Right? And I always joke with my clients, none of your guests are going to see me ever again.
Right.
For the most part. Aunt Susie, I don't have to go to breakfast with Aunt Susie the next morning. Aunt Susie can be mad at me for 7 hours.
Yeah,
That's fine.
that's fine.
She shouldn't have talked to me. We're in public. Most people don't mention, I'm pissed at you in public.
Yeah.
Now they'll go in and write you a review the next day, and, we just take that chance. But Aunt Susie or Uncle Bill or whoever can be mad at me if I don't play their song. I'm not going to tell them that, hey, your niece or nephew or brother or whatever told me that I can't play your song.
Yeah.
So I'll always take requests. We'll use it professional judgment. But it also, if you are playing what you need to be playing and doing what you need to be doing, you should never get requests. There's plenty of weddings that nobody ever requests songs.
Yeah.
Because I read their mind and I play what they want to hear, or they're just loving the music that we're playing and loving what we're doing, that they don't need to add their value and their input. Most people that give requests feel like their requests can add to the experience.
Yeah.
And if you don't, I don't want to say don't give them the opportunity to, but if you are already taking care of what they think is best, you're good.
How do you feel about when DJs speak in the middle of songs or
That's the
say
worst thing in the
things?
world.
So
God, I hate
sometimes I feel like it's done right, and sometimes it's so cringy.
If it's tasteful, right?
That's one of those things I feel like can make or break like the vibe.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that can make or break the vibe. That being one of them. It's especially when we have to make announcements that we don't really want to make.
I'm talking about like
Mid-song,
like mid-song, like
trying to hype the crowd
or something like that,
Right.
when they don't do it properly.
Yeah, it's all about what is your MC style
Yeah.
and how can you tastefully do it to get the best reaction.
Yeah.
I joke I've seen DJs and memes that have popped up and everything like that. And there's this one viral video going around that I haven't seen in a minute, but it's the comparison between a guest and a DJ commanding a room. Mm-hmm. So you have a packed dance floor. You are just everything's perfect. You really couldn't screw this wedding up. And the DJ's like, here, hype this crowd up. Hands the microphone to a random guest, and you hear the random guest do it, and nobody reacts. Right? It just nobody knew what was happening. You could clearly hear this person, but nobody reacts. And then the DJ takes a microphone and does the same thing, but changes it and commands the room, and everybody flips out and reacts. Right?
Yeah.
So it's also, you have to know when to do it, what to say, and how to say it tastefully in order for it to get the reaction that you want to get.
That's
and
good.
it's an art in itself outside of just DJing.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we subscribe to the philosophy of once the music starts and the dance floor opens, I really shouldn't have to talk. Mm-hmm. I'm going to let the music do the talking for itself.
Yeah.
Now, occasionally you get a little bit harder, tougher crowds that you need a little bit more interaction with, and especially if we want to get certain shots, right? So if Veronica comes up to me and says, "Hey, can we get a shot, a group photo or whatever of everybody having their hands up?" Sure, let's do it. And it also comes down to
I've actually
communication.
done that before.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, I need like a really cool shot of like everybody put your hands up.
Yeah, and it also comes down to communication. Like, okay, give me 2 songs. I'm gonna set you up for success, and then we do it, and we get the shot, and everything's good.
Yeah.
So it really just depends on the music has to fit what you are saying on the microphone. And
I'm
if it
actually really
doesn't
glad
do
that you brought that up. We're going to be wrapping this up in a second, but like
We got one more topic we got to hit before we stop.
but yeah, I've totally done that with you before, where I'm like, hey, I have this really cool like artistic shot that I have an idea for. I need you to put a song on or say something that's going to get people's hands in the air.
Yep.
And I can picture the picture that I took when we did this. It's like a vignette photo. Everything's in black and white, and all the hands are just up and like moving, and they're all black, and it just looks really epic, and you can really feel the energy in that photo. And I couldn't have done that unless you did it and did it properly to actually have people do it. So
I know exactly what photo you're talking
Yeah.
It's about creating the
I'm pretty sure
moments.
I gave it to you.
Yeah. I use it all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Alex. You had one more thing.
We haven't touched on this yet. We've talked about it a little bit, but the videographer thing. And one of the biggest things that the DJ provides for videographer goes far beyond the day of, and that is
Audio.
capturing audio. I preach this constantly: redundancy, redundancy, redundancy. Yep. I always say I have a lapel on the person that's recording. I have a little mic clip to the microphone itself that's recording, and I always have a feed, at least one, sometimes 2, coming from the DJ.
Yep.
When it comes to approaching the DJ,
Yep.
I think I do this pretty well because I've been in the music industry and the production industry, so I know how to approach it tactfully.
You've been in the music industry for
most of my life.
like longer than video, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I know the words to say, the verbiage to use, just to kind of, without saying I know what I'm doing,
Yep.
to let them know that I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Right.
By the way I speak. How would you suggest, as the DJ, a videographer approaching you to get the
that's
things
good.
it needs to run through the timeline? And I always say, the last thing I always say, we've talked about this already, is don't do anything without me.
Yep.
And that's the last thing I say, and we're done. But I know there's videographers that are just super non-tactful. Some will even try to just hook up without even talking to you. What is your advice for those situations, specifically
for videographers? Yeah.
So,
That's good.
I have a little bit different take on this. It shouldn't be the videographer responsibility to know where you need to hook up, when you need to hook up, and how you need to do it.
Yep.
Because you guys is video, and you're an anomaly, but most videographers don't know crap about audio. So for us, we reach out to videographers 3 to 4 weeks before.
Yep.
hey, I'm the DJ for so and
You don't
so's
do
wedding.
that with us.
I'm an
You guys are
anomaly.
easy.
I'm an anomaly. He just said it.
left out.
I don't need to talk to.
I'm just kidding.
I don't need
They
to talk
don't
to
do that
Alex,
with
and I
us,
don't
but-
need to talk to Dylan.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
because-
they don't do that with us, but it's 'cause it's not necessary.
Yeah, I don't need to talk
Yeah.
to you guys
I
because
was just giving you shit.
Alex, I just let Alex do whatever he wants to do. Just here's an XLR cable. Alex, do whatever the hell you want to do.
Yeah.
But it's the trust that we've built, right?
Yeah.
So and especially it's new videographers and videographers we haven't worked with.
Yeah.
Right? It's, hey, we're the DJ for so-and-so's wedding. What connection do you need from me? Because what happens is you guys run off the party bus, the bridesmaids, groomsmen, they're all getting ready, freshening up. You guys are setting up lighting, setting up things. And we really don't have time to the last minute of, hey, plug it in. Well, by that time, if you don't have what you need to have, or I don't have what you need, there's a problem.
Yeah.
Because we are 10 minutes
Down to the
before
wire.
introductions, and you don't have the right cables, and I don't have the cables that you need because you didn't tell me what recorder you had, right? For the most part, you need 3 cables. You need a 1/4 inch, an XLR, or an 1/8 inch.
Yep.
Other than that, if you have anything other than that, you're on your own. So it comes down to communication of the DJ is being proactive, right? So, and Alex can touch on this, but when I know I'm working with you guys, I know what recorder Alex has used. So I have my XLR dropped for him, and I have my XLR dropped for him on my booth, and I also have an XLR dropped for him on my speaker.
Dude, if we could do every wedding with you guys, our
be
lives
so-
would
it'd
be
be
so
so much
easy.
better, man. I tell you, it'd just make my life so much
Lord.
easier.
I have thought before, I'm like, maybe we should just only take weddings with high class.
The feeling is mutual.
Yeah.
I deal with some photographers. I'm like, God, if only Veronica were here. I'm I would not have to do as much as I would
Yeah.
need to do if Alex and Veronica or Courtney and Dylan or any of you guys
Yeah.
girls were there. But it also depends on, a question that most DJs don't ask, but the good DJs do is, do you want music or do you want microphones only or music and mics? Right? Because when I look at it is you guys are using, because you can't use our music.
Yep.
So if I eliminate having my music in general, that's one less step that you have to do is cut out music from microphone. And it baffles me, and maybe you can answer this. It baffles me why some videographers don't want a stereo connection. If I am giving you left and right, and you do not have to copy your audio over in post-production, why wouldn't you want to do that?
So I think that comes down to the recorders.
Okay.
So my recorder that I use an F6. Every connection is a mono connection. So if I get a stereo input from you, I have to go channel 1, channel 2, mono, but it's 2 different tracks.
Got you.
The other thing is most DJs that
Don't.
are mid-tier whatever,
Right.
don't send you a true stereo mix. It's just it's identical mono mixes.
Right.
So there's no need to have both.
Right.
I'll do that sometimes just to have a high-low setting, just in case something's peaking or whatever, just as a backup, if whatever. But I think that's what it comes down to. I don't need a stereo mix on mine.
Yeah.
And I prefer to have multiple mono sources from different things, like one from your board, one from the speaker. And then the perfect scenario is to have a feed from the back of the mic receiver, because then it negates all of the board processing, and I get a true 32-bit process through my system, which is different. Everybody's different, but
Interesting.
that's one thing that I think I'd love to be able to educate more DJs on the technical side of being able to pull a feed from the mic receiver and how it doesn't actually degrade the sound.
Well, good. Can you write a big ass post on the St. Louis area wedding vendor group about that? And I'll back you.
Okay.
We'll just talk about it online.
Okay.
Because I like to think that I'm pretty tech savvy, but I didn't even think about just avoiding my board completely and just giving you something out of the microphone.
Yeah, because you always have an XLR
Right.
and a 1/4 inch.
Yeah.
Both are equally fine if you have the right cables.
Okay.
And they don't affect each other.
Interesting.
And even if there isn't, you can run a splitter
Right.
off the XLR, and
Yeah.
it also doesn't affect it if it's the right cable.
Okay.
So
I've
gonna have
completely,
to
I've
rewire
completely
my
checked
booth.
out.
there's a
I'm gonna have to rewire my booth.
there's a videographer named Justin Porter. He's a big
Name
black
sounds
dude out
familiar.
of Texas.
Yeah.
An incredible videographer,
Yeah, he's
and
awesome.
he's killing it. You probably heard of him because he's killing it.
Yeah.
He does his style of wedding videos are kind
Straight
of
up.
like like
Reality TV.
TV.
Is that the guy that like has this whole like,
Yeah,
big
he like
beard?
wears headphones.
He's jacked.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
like has like this whole backpack thing that he
Yes.
wears that has like shit that comes over
Yes.
him. It's got okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes,
I
yes,
just
yes.
saw a video of him the
He's
other day.
dope.
But
He's dope.
he actually did some videos on how to set up.
Okay.
And I made a comment about like, the trick is getting the right DJ that trusts you or understands sound enough to let you do that,
Right.
because a lot think that you're going to affect their sound.
Yep.
But that's part of the challenge is videographers that don't approach the situation properly
Or have a knowledge in it.
or don't have a knowledge to do it
Yep.
or talk the right language
Yep.
aren't going to set themselves up to be able to even do that.
Yep. So fear goes both ways.
Yeah.
So not only are you guys fearful that we're going to screw you up, but we're fearful because you guys work with inexperienced DJs. We work with inexperienced videographers.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
Twofold.
when you guys are like, we need all these redundancies because we've been burned by so-and-so and that's fine. But when we're back, and the biggest thing that drives me, crazy is hanging a lapel mic over my speaker or having a stand like this and putting a microphone on it and sticking it in front of my speaker.
Bro.
I had that happen the other week. And I told the dude, I said, listen, when we do these introductions, this itty bitty tripod is going to blow away. Promise you.
Yeah.
This is a 18-inch sub and a 15-inch top. That little thing is going to
fall.
fly.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he's like, no, I'll be fine. I'm like, all right, fine. Trust
You're
me.
like, you sure you don't want a sandbag?
Yeah, I'm like, are you, bro? Like, it's going to fly. And sure as shit, when I hit my introductions,
Oh
thing
my
went
God.
flying across the dance floor.
That is
and he looked at me like, dude, what the fuck? I'm like, sorry, I told you it was going to fly.
Yeah.
You put this scrawny little tripod with this small little recorder in front of an 18-inch sub and a 15-inch top, and I have 350 people to get through in this room. It's gone.
Yeah. That's Jesus.
It's like the worst place to put a mic.
Thank
yeah,
you.
Yeah. We do need to wrap this up, but I just thought of something that I wanted to touch on that's kind of funny, but also like not funny.
Step by
Maybe
the
just like a PSA. Sorry.
PSA, don't touch the mic
Okay.
later.
Oh, whatever. Speaking of, we have had this, but have you ever experienced a drop the mic moment?
Oh
Yeah.
my.
Well, no.
We have.
I haven't.
We have.
Can I please post a video to out the dude? I really want to do it.
Let's blur out his face.
No.
But yes. Yes.
He don't follow
You know
us.
what? Actually, I think they're divorced.
So
I don't know.
I don't care.
I
don't do that.
I had a almost moment, and he was joking, but in the moment,
You're like-
we don't think you're joking.
Yeah.
So there was New Year's Eve, this past New Year's Eve, and the father of the bride and I we were going at each other. We
In a
were
good way or-
yeah,
okay.
we were
Like
having
playful?
some fun. Yeah,
Yeah.
he was messing with me, I was messing with him. So he was talking about during his speech. Well, prior to his speech, that he hadn't paid the DJ yet. So like he can do whatever he wants because the DJ is still waiting on his payment. So, we were
Oh my
joking.
God.
He ended his speech and he's like, I'm gonna drop the mic. I'm like, Dad, don't. Like I'm on the microphone. I'm like, Dad, don't mess
Don't
with that
do
pop.
that.
Like, don't do that. And he was like, should I do it? And everybody's crowd hyping him. I'm like, listen, Dad, if you do that, your bill doubled. Like that mic, like your bill's going to double, my friend. And he took the microphone and he just kind of like slightly sat it down. And I picked it up and I joked. I'm like, yeah, that would have gave me a heart attack. He's like, I would have packed up and left, and I would have left you with a broken microphone, Dad. But no, I've never had a microphone drop. And there's a viral video of a friend of mine, one of his DJs. The groom had sat the microphone down on the sweetheart table and it started rolling.
Oh.
And the DJ saw it, or the MC saw it from across the room, sprints, slides,
And catches it.
That's amazing.
I'll have to find the video for you,
Yeah.
but it's a company out of New Jersey. But yeah, he slides and grabs it, and it was all recorded.
Just
on video.
last year, we had.
It was 2 years ago.
No,
it was
last year. We had a best man give a speech, and he literally was standing on a stage. He literally was holding the mic, was like, okay,
didn't
cheers.
even say mic
he
drop.
didn't even say mic drop. He just he didn't even just drop it. He kind of
Let it go.
kind of tossed it.
I think what happened was
It was terrible.
he seemed like the type of guy that was just making jokes about, I'm gonna do a mic drop, and everybody was like, I dare you.
Yep.
And he was gonna do it, and then just kind of hesitated and just kind of dropped it. But he still dropped it.
He kind of like gave it, like he kind of like did like a little like toss with it. It was like aggressive.
It was. So I always put a
and
recorder
it was loud
on the
when
mic.
it hit the floor.
So not only is there this $1,000 mic,
but also recorder.
It's only a couple $100, but still, it's a couple $100.
Yeah.
And
but that recorder has valuable content on it.
Yes. So
thank God we have
me
redundancies.
And the DJ looked at each other like,
and everybody in the room went, ow, because it hit
studs
the ground. Oh my God.
That's where
never
you have your
drop the
audio
mic.
guy.
Yeah.
So our guys would have caught that. Not only would I have been pissed, I probably would have socked the guy in the face.
They were so far away. There was no stopping it.
So
there was no stopping it.
So we're lucky enough that all of our stuff is on iPad.
Yeah.
So when we have situations like that, my guy, Hadis, when he's running audio and he's on the iPad, he is visibly like he can see everything that's happening because the wireless connection to the booth is fine.
Yeah.
I could walk miles and still control audio. So we watched, so like the mic's muted before it ever hit the ground. I'd be livid. Well, and it also depends on the microphones you have. My microphones that I carry are $2,500 microphone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And good DJ is going to have
I'm more upset with the best man or whoever it was because they don't know that somebody's going to pay for that.
Yeah.
So when I tell the client, because I'll do it right away, I will pick up that microphone and be like, I hope it's not broken because you will get a bill.
Yeah.
And I don't
And you can
care.
send that bill to your friend.
Yeah, I don't.
But
You can
it's
do
gonna be
whatever you
paid.
want to, but it's a $2,500 bill, and somebody's going to pay it.
Yeah.
And I don't have a problem saying that right in front of his face. I'm dude, I really hope this isn't broken. And if it's even dented, the bill comes to them. So I hope you got $2,500 sitting in an emergency fund somewhere because you just burned it.
We can just upgrade that capsule.
Some. But
I thought of that and I was like, oh my God, that's probably one of like the worst moments that we've experienced.
And if you have a videographer, then you got insurance.
Exactly. Yeah, but I don't want to use an insurance claim. Like not if I
you
don't
have to do an insurance claim because they're liable at that point.
You're right. You're right.
Don't have to use insurance because they're liable. Anyway, I want to post that, but I got to figure out the right context to post it.
Yeah. So, okay. Anything else? Like, what else do you have? If you have anything for how a DJ can make or break, like just kind of like a quick wrap up.
Yeah. I think it all comes down to is find the right DJ.
Yeah.
And I tell some of my clients, just because your friend used them doesn't mean you have to.
Yeah, because it's like a personality fit.
Just because your best friend's like it's the best DJ in the world. And I even tell that to people to me. When I get tagged on Facebook, Dawson's the best DJ ever. I comment, I said I appreciate it, but I'm also not the fit for everybody. So do your homework, research it. Plan far enough in advance that you have the ability to do your homework.
Yeah.
Right? Don't call me 6 months in advance because one, I'm either not going to be available, or two, if by the grace of God I am, there's 3 or 4, 5 people calling within a week to book the date.
I feel like some clients DJ is like maybe like one of the last things booked, but if they wanted to work with a DJ like you, it needs to be one of the first things booked.
Yep. We just booked a wedding for April of this year. And
really?
Yep. They didn't have anybody.
Wow.
Didn't even think about it.
Wow.
Yep.
But they didn't get you because you're not.
No, they didn't get me. I've been booked for April of 2024 since April of 2021. But I had a client call me 4 days before her wedding and was like, we need a DJ. When we hear that, I'm like, okay, somebody's canceled, somebody's burned you.
Yeah.
So I asked that question. I'm like, did you guys get a cancellation? because if you are, I potentially could waive your deposit, right? Depending on what I could work with you. But they're like, yeah, no, one of our friends just like, do you have a DJ, right? And she was like, no. I'm like, your wedding's in 4 days. I'm like, what? Like, what do you mean you don't have it? Like, who was going to run your music? Well, Spotify. Who was going to MC? What's an MC?
Yeah. Oh,
Yeesh.
Yikes.
But
Yikes.
So just have enough time in your engagement process to do your homework, find the right DJ, and make sure that they fit with you just as much as
it's one of the first questions that I ask when I hop on a client call is like, what other vendors have you booked? And hardly ever is DJ mentioned.
Yep.
And
If it is, it's usually Dawson.
and yeah, but like, or they're doing a band or whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm like, if you're wanting a good DJ recommendation, I can give you one. But before you do anything else, you need to reach out to them. And I always recommend you guys first.
Yeah.
But I know that you guys book out really far, especially for you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm happy to work with anybody from High Class because you guys are all fantastic. We do favor you and your dad,
Obviously.
because you guys are fun and we have a good relationship. But I know that I'm like, hey, if you guys don't have a DJ and you want a good one and you have like the budget for it, the next like 2 day reach out, like, because chances are they're probably not
And
available.
I would venture, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, I think if you're looking for a DJ, the best person to ask is your videographer or your photographer.
Yep.
Because
I agree.
they're going to be the ones with the most honest input,
Yep.
because the DJ quite literally affects how good or bad the day goes for us.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
For sure. Awesome. Well, thank you for
course.
coming in
Thanks for the
again.
invite.
For people that haven't seen the original episode so many years ago, where can people find you?
So anywhere online at High Class DJs or anywhere online at I am Dawson High.
Okay.
Because he is Dawson High.
That's true.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks, dude, for
course.
hanging out.
Yeah, man.
Okay. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope this was helpful for you guys. And that's all that we have for you this week. And we'll catch you next
On
Monday.
the flippity flip.
We'll catch you next Monday/Tuesday. Okay. Peace.
Never go pop, 'cause pop be the weasel. Just a lyricist